Hey Padey, this is Shved. Если вы хотите посмотреть русскоязычную версию этого гайда, ссылочка внизу. And if you're an English speaker, then welcome to the 00 Space Burner Mission Guide from Shved Juan Mates. Today's topic is Blue Raider Burner, and let's begin. As always, I will make time chapters so you could navigate through video easily. And a couple words about the mission itself. In my opinion, the Blue Raider Burner is the hardest one because he has all the stuff, all the electronics that other burners have, but also he has newts, which makes it even harder to make a proper fit or strategy. It is pretty tanky, so you won't be able to break it fast with just a DPS ships until you have a massive amount of alts in your fleet, in something like Daredevils. But still, I have some creative strategies for you, so let's go on to the footages. I want to ask for excuse in advance for my sick voice in this video, because I got a flu. So anyways, what do we have here? At the right side of the screen you may see a wall fit that is for Blue Raider Burner, and I'm sure that you're familiar with it if you've ever been doing these missions. This wall has an obvious problem that it has no prop mod. I usually use this nergal that you may see for soloing this Blue Raider mission. It has a prop mod, an MWD, and in addition to that it has cloak, which makes evading camps even easier. So you can crash the gate using your cloak and do a lot of other evasive maneuvers. So what do? Just regular stuff, nothing special. I just entered the mission with the nergal. The fit is a little bit pricey. It's around 500 to 600 ISK in JITA at the moment I record this. You may see some drones sitting already inside the mission site. That's because I was experimenting on this exact mission. All the fits that you will see in this video guide I will surely link into a file and put the link in the video description, so you can just copy paste it, so don't worry about this. This fit doesn't require any extraordinary strategy or actions that you may perform, so you actually just apply all you have. You switch on the wrap, you switch on the resist, and then you just have to keep at range burner. In this case it's Crucifier, and the keep at range distance just have to be a little bit more. It should exceed a normal optimal range of the burner. This will make his orbit less circle-like and lead to less transversal speed, which means more hits with more damage and a faster kill. As you may see on the footage, I don't do a lot of hit management. I'm just trying to keep some balance and evade a streak of wrecking shots, for instance. And for sure, I always have a B plan. For like in this fit, I usually carry some boosters that are useful in case of some critical situation. For example, in this nergal, I usually carry an exile booster, a standard one or better, and a hard shell. These two boosters has their effect on armor boost rate. This is not an issue in this exact run, but sometimes such a things save your ship, and this ship is pretty expensive, so I always have some of those. So, any second now this burner will die. There is nothing special about the tactic. This feed just absorbs all the damage and newts and everything. It tanks quite well, and it is able to kill a Crucifier, I'd say even faster than a regular wolf does. So this is over, and let's move on to the next footage. And the second one here is the strategy and the setup that I adopted from Chinese runners, and I call it Cruel Crew. You may copy paste all the fits from a file, I will link in the description. Let's see what we have here. Here is the Sentinel that I use just because it makes me feel more elite to use a Tech 2 electronic ship. Just kidding. And also we have these two Retributions. The thing is that you actually don't need to go for Sentinel. You just need any of those Crucifier or maybe Crucifier Navy, because they have a tracking disruption bonus, which is the key to this whole setup. I will now enter the mission with my Sentinel, and the main goal for me at this stage of mission is to apply my tracking disruptors to the Crucifier as fast as possible. Tracking disruption ship lands into a grid, and I initiate my lock on the target and pre-activate all the tracking disruptors I have. Sentinel receives a lot of shield damage, but as soon as all my tracking disruptors are on this target, there is no more damage. The next goal is to move all the Retributions into zero distance from the Sentinel, so they won't accidentally receive any more damage. The thing that I usually do here is I just anchor both my Retributions on the Sentinel by setting keep it range 500 meters, and then I usually just set keep it range by Sentinel on a Crucifier, something around 7.5 or 10 kilometers. This will make Crucifier approach my formation, and it also makes his orbit less circle-like and closer to the straight line, which means more application because of less transversal speed. Each Retribution in the setup has, of course, its lasers, a long web, and for high utility slotted, each Retribution has a remote armor repairer to wrap up any possible armor damage of any of the ships. Also, you may see that the Sentinel has a cap transmitter, so in case of any Retribution losing all the cap, you could boost the Retribution's cap remotely to at least let him hold the web on the burner. I dropped the drones from a Sentinel on a target also to speed up, and from now on nothing too interesting would really happen, so let's just increase the speed of the footage. It is now twice speed of the real footage, so let's see what happens. I reset my keep it range to 7.5 kilometer again. Now we just have to wait until the Retributions and the Sentinel drones will finish the Crucifier, get it into a low armor, and then kill. You may see that the Sentinel now is receiving the scram and all the newts, but it holds pretty well. I have a NOS just in case of the cap drop. Anyways, Sentinel not suffering too much, and now the Blue Trader is finished, and we can go to the next setup and next footage. Let's go on. This setup is my personal invention, and the original idea was to use Crucifier's Navy, tracking disruptor bonus, and ability to apply some DPS. And after some testing, it became obvious to me that Crucifier Navy itself doesn't have enough of DPS. That's why this Damavik is here. Another reason Damavik is here is that you can still have a web without losing a prop mod.
which I normally don't like. Because, as I said many times before, you should always be ready to crash the gate and run away from those who are trying to catch you. But let's get back to the stuff happening on the screen. As you see, I've landed into a green with my Crucifier and a Damavik. As soon as I land, I just apply my tracking disruption modules on a Crucifier, which makes both of my ships unhittable until they sit in the same spot. For that, I usually anchor my Damavik on my Crucifier Navy at 500 meters. After that, you have to set a keep it range on a Crucifier Navy from the Crucifier at something like 7.5 kilometers. Damavik also applies his web to the burner, which makes it easier to hit the target with the lasers and the Triglavian gun. Surely I use the max DPS occult ammo on the Triglavian ship. And now we just have to wait until the DPS will spool up on the Damavik and it will make this burner die pretty fast. The good thing about this setup is that tracking disruption just cancels all the damage incoming from the burner, and you don't have to worry about the tank, don't have to go for expensive wrapper or expensive resists. You just need to apply the tracking disruption and then kill the burner that can actually do nothing to you. That's another reason why I use a cheap Damavik instead of expensive nergal, because I just don't care about the tank, I don't care about resists, just need his gun and utility medium slot for a web to make the application better. I will double the speed of the footage here, because nothing too interesting would really happen after this point. If you want to try this setup yourself, you can just go and check the link in the description to a file which has all the fits I use in this guide, and I might say that I personally were proud of this composition I've invented, because it uses a smart mechanic, it's cheap, easy to train, and so on and so on. Anomic Blood Raider Crucifier will die in a second now, so let's see how it happens. I overheat my guns, launch all the drones I have, not really all, but some, and it will die in a second now, which means we can move to the next footage, next setup. This next setup is what it comes to when you do too much of the burner missions. If you have seen my guides before, you should know this one, and it includes a frig logie like Kirin or Scalpel, or maybe even Bantam, as you see later, and also it includes daredevils, at least 2, but there is no high limit on the amount of daredevils that you can use. The good thing about daredevils is that they have a very high blaster DPS at close range, but still they have another bonus to the web. When 2 webs are applied from daredevil to any ship, it will stop that ship at like almost 0 speed. He won't be able to go anywhere, you just have to keep these daredevils alive. If you want to go check this setup yourself, you can find the link in the description. The link leads to the file which has all the fits. Daredevil hull itself is kinda pricey, around 100 million. On the other hand, as you may see, this fit of a Daredevil I have here is almost all Tech 2 or even Meta. The only bad thing about this whole setup is that you need at least 3 tunes to make it work. Let's see what's happening here. I've entered the site with both my Daredevils first, and then I land my logie on the grid. Then I notice which one of those Daredevils suffering. I use a watch list for that. I pull some range from the Crucifier, from the burner,
Until this Crucifier is fixed on its position by Daredevil webs, my logie is unhittable. So I just have to keep Daredevils alive. Blood Raider Burner is kinda tricky in this case because he has newts. This means that I should reactivate my web on the target. I don't want to let the Crucifier, the burner, break away from this hard tackle by Daredevils. As you may see now, Logie receives its cram, but it's not a big deal because I'm running my AB and still I'm unhittable for this Crucifier due to it's fixed in its position. And actually it's good for me because usually it means that his newts are also applied to me and not my Daredevils, which makes it easy for them to shoot. And as you may see, the burner just died. So, mission's finished, let's move on to the next footage. This last footage here is quite similar with the previous one that tells about the Daredevils and the Kirin, but in this case, instead of Kirin, we use Tech 1 version, it's Bantam. I'd recommend to use Kirin, but if you want to try this fit of a logie, it will be also linked in the file. You can find the link in the description. The Daredevil fit is similar to what I use all the time. Here are both fits. Actually, this video was recorded just by accident because I got into a camp and lost my last Kirin. I had no reserve. I just want to show that Tech 1 Logie may also work if you got a clue on what you're doing. I do the same. I will now just enter the mission site with both my Daredevils and the Bantam will follow. As I land on the grid with Daredevils, my first mission is to get as close as possible to the Crucifier and apply my webs. As you see, the Daredevils warped and they're trying to tackle the Crucifier already, and now the Bantam lands. I have my watch list on just to watch which of those Daredevils gonna suffer and be under the damage. I pull some range by the logie and start repping one of the Daredevils that is receiving damage right now. It looks like everything's done properly, and I just have to care about not losing the Daredevil. I hit my transfers a bit. I cannot heal this Daredevil to 100% of a shield, but it's holding. That's why I recommend to use Kirin if you're new to this, cause Kirin and Scalpel that are Tech 2 Freak Logies has much more repping power, but as you see now, the thing happened again, and Blood Raiders trying to attack my logie, which is good to me because this means that his newt is not applied to my Daredevils. I lock the Crucifier itself and it will just blow up in any second and the mission's gonna be finished. That's it, guys. So this is all the setups I wanted to talk about. Let's move to the outro. So looks like this is all that I have on this topic at the moment. If you like this content and if you're like the guys and find it useful, please share with your friends, your fellow mission runners. If you have any incredible strategies or fits, I would like to see those in the commentary. Hit likes, subscribe to the channel, there's gonna be more. This was Shved, hej då, and see you next time.